Hello everybody, I'm Randy Dalton with longtime instructor Thor Lokey.
What we're going to discuss today is some different areas and how to practice those areas to make sure you continue to improve throughout the winter.
And the first area we're going to talk about here is putting. And whenever you're working on your putting, you're working on three distinctive areas. The first would always be mechanics, the second would always be distance, and the last would always be direction. So distance and direction, that's just pure practice on your own, but as far as the mechanics go, the setups, the fundamentals in the mechanics, just always make sure that you've got the club in the palms versus the fingers. That way you eliminate a lot of hand action through contact. Once you get set to the ball, just make sure the ball is slightly forward in the stance. And as far as the stroke itself goes, the things that we look for, three specific areas we look for, is you're making a stroke versus a hit, and you're holding your finish. And it'll look something like this. So remember folks, the three areas you need to work on: distance, direction, and last with mechanics. When you are working on your mechanics, just make sure you have two tees just outside the toe and inside the heel about a ½ inch. That way you're always making sure that you have a correct swing path. Thor's going to come in and talk to us now about some chipping techniques.
Now we're going to discuss chipping the ball, how to practice, watching your setup fundamentals. This shot, you want to make it as much like a putt as you can. Putter grip, choke down on the club until you feel like you have the length of your putter in your hand. The only difference between this and a putt is going to be the ball's in the middle of your stance. With the putt, the ball is slightly forward, and I'm going to get my upper body and my hands a little bit left of the golf ball. Okay, what that's going to do is that's going to help me hit it solid. And then after that, I'm just going to treat it as much like a putt as we can. So again, chipping the ball, you want to use an iron. I have a 7-iron here, and it's basically just a putt with an iron. Again, the key is getting your setup correct and then treating it like a putt. So once I get my setup, I'm going to treat this just like a putt. And you can see with a chip, we're looking for a minimal amount of air time and a lot of roll time, meaning we want to get this ball on the green and rolling like a putt as soon as we can. That's how you're going to be the most accurate with this shot. So remember, get your setup correct, review that, make sure that's in good shape, and then just treat it like a putt. Now we're going to go work on some pitch shots.
Okay, so now we've moved from chip shots over here to pitch shots, and really the only difference is in a chip shot you've got more ground time than in a pitch shot where you have more air time. Setup wise, just remember with the chip shot, it's more of a putt, so you set the club vertical and in the palms. With the pitch shot, it's just a miniature version of your full swing, so you do get the club in the fingers and treat the mechanics just like you would in a full swing, just in a miniature version. But as far as distance control goes, something that everybody has in common to achieve distance is that length and effort match back and through. And that's really pure practice to find out how far each distance goes for you. And what we like to do is use different positions with your hands to your body to have a gauge for distance. So for instance, I need to know for me how far knee-high back and through goes, maybe waist-high back and through goes, and then chest-high back and through goes. So I've got a shot here of about 30 yards. It's probably going to be a shot, I would say, that's going to be about waist-high back and through. So what I'll do is I'll set into the ball, just to the side of it, make a practice swing, maybe two, get a feel for the length and the effort, and then when I set into the shot, I just try to copy what I did in the practice swing. So once again, that feels about waist high back and through. So just remember, distance control, something that everybody has in common to achieve distance, is that length and effort matches. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move over to the full swing area and talk a little bit about how to set up and practice in that area.
Now we're going to review how to work on your full swing. That way you stay on track with that throughout the winter. Now always start with your setup. Okay, go through your setup checklist, make sure your grip's correct, your posture, your ball position, and a big part of that is using alignment clubs when you practice. Okay, you can watch every tour player when they practice. They'll always have some sort of alignment aid out there, and again, that not only will that help you with your aim, which you have to have good, because if your aim's incorrect, you're either going to hit a good shot offline, or you have to make a compensation in your golf swing to get the ball to your target. So not only is that going to help with your aim, that's also going to help with your ball position. Keep that consistent so you're not too close or too far from the ball, which will in turn help you with your posture. Make sure you're bending from your hips, okay, here, not your waist. That way you're in a good athletic position and your arms are hanging down underneath your shoulders. So always go through your checklist, make sure your setup's correct, because obviously if that's not good, you know, the rest of the swing's going to be off as well. Now, after that, you should be hitting at least 40% of your practice shots in a practice drill. So you can go back and look at your observation and prescription chart that you got when you're here at the academy, okay, and you'll see the appropriate practice drills on the right side to help you with what we worked on throughout the golf school. So again, 40% of your shots should be in some sort of practice drill. And then after that, practice like you would play, okay? Don't just hit irons or woods, mix it up. Okay, I would hit 3 irons and 3 woods after you're warmed up. So again, here's a 7-iron. I got the ball in the middle of my stance. Again, I'm going to make sure my posture is good and my setup's correct. Okay, then make my swing. Now, after that, if I feel like I'm hitting it solid, I'll move into my woods, play the ball a little further forward in my stance. But after that, again, I'm going to make sure my setup's correct. I'm going to feel like I have a 7-iron in my hands. Okay, and I'm going to mix it up back and forth. I'm not going to hit 20 drivers in a row. So hit 3 or 4 woods, 3 or 4 irons, keep switching it up back and forth. This will help keep your swing good and consistent.
And folks, from all of us here at the Academy, we want to encourage you to stay in touch with us over the winter. Any kind of struggles you have, questions about instruction, we'd rather you give us a call, email us versus any kind of experimentation. That way when we see you next year, we can keep building you to the next level. But other than that, we want to thank all of you for coming to see us again this year, and we want to wish all of you a happy holidays and a happy and prosperous new year. Thank you very much.